Okay, so just following on from that. When we halt on that video, I think it comes...
My name is Priyanka Reddy. My family's principles have been entrenched with our rich...
All right, so that video came up a little early. What we want to talk about on this slide is basically just to highlight something that is very common, and I think everybody in the room is aware, that there is a plethora of different types of content available to everyone at the moment. We all have a huge choice in terms of what we want to watch, when we want to watch it. There's YouTube, there's live streaming, there's social media. What we do right at ZTV is we customize and we get closer to our audiences by creating the most amazing content, and I think the slide that we were going to show you up front now is exactly what we'd like to talk to. So we create content that speaks to the audience, that brings you closer to home and makes it relevant. If you could play is it the second one? Yes, the Priyanka one. If you could play that one, and that basically just explains what we mean when we say our content brings you closer to our platform, basically. So it's the Priyanka Reddy link.
Do you want to play the next video? Thanks.
My name is Priyanka Reddy. My family's principles have been entrenched with our rich culture, and it is these qualities that have provided a solid foundation upon which I have built my life.
And the lucky lady getting that chance to reach into Bollywood. ZTV Miss India South Africa 2022, Priyanka Reddy.
The essence of being a woman is showing confidence. I believe that if you prove confidence, you are able to conquer anything in the world.
So I think I want to add to that. If you notice that we've shown you two examples of our localization in Nigeria and our localization in South Africa, two of our key markets, right? So the thing is with Dance Niger Dance, the way we see it is a bringing together of both the cultures. So it's a fusion genre of dance. It's a mix of Nigerian and Indian dancing to Bollywood music. Obviously just to showcasing only dance crews from Nigeria. Okay, next slide.
Am I coming up? Oh, we're going straight to the video.
We migrate from a language of convenience to a language of connect.
You need to first decide what it is you want, and then tell me.
Let me tell you what you do. You stay upset with me, get mad at me, you refute everything I say, make fun of me, taunt me every single day.
Rem, reste avec moi pour quelque temps. Pitié, reste.
Si tu montres ta preuve, je resterai.
Et si je ne te montre pas de preuves, reste à la maison s'il te plaît.
ሁሌም ሲደፍ
ምናልባት ወደፊት ብዙ ገንዘብ ቢኖረኝስ?
Beautiful. Agora mesmo é que vou quebrar os seus ossos. Agora essa guerra é minha, entendeu?
Não entendi. Como assim?
Guardei minha ira por um ano. E agora eu vou poder liberá-la.
Beleza. Nós não vamos fugir.
Fugi ni nani?
Fugi ni mpenzi wangu.
Hivyo Fugi ni jina la mchumba wako?
Ndio yeye anaitwa Fugi.
Na san waye ke haka kuma da min da yasa ke.
Tambayar ce take min wannan abin duka.
A very incredible, beautiful Shweta Tiwari.
All right, I've got the incredible Mana Hill. I'm sure you know him. The one and the only Chavi.
Right, I have Shorty, who plays the character Asha.
The incredible Disha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon in Lagos. Don't worry. Love to come there. I'll send you flight tickets.
Right, over and above just customizing, a very close affiliate of ours Hero Daniels, who appears on Dance Niger Dance. And we sent him to Mumbai earlier this year, and where he was on the red carpet at the Zee Cine Awards with all the A-lister Bollywood stars. We've got the most incredible footage, and Hero absolutely smashed it on the red carpet. Everybody loved him. They couldn't believe he was from Nigeria, and it was just so much of love shown, you know, towards Hero, and I thought that was very awesome. And as you can see, he was also on the sets of one of our flagship shows called Aparajita. And again, won over, everybody won their hearts. They loved him to bits. And that behind the scenes clip is doing extremely well on Zee World. So it's not just about us dubbing to be local. We also integrate our local stars, our local heroes into our content on the channel. All right. The next slide, please. Yes, of course, the marketing. Yes, we do all these lovely, wonderful things across sub-Saharan Africa, right? And of course, Nigeria being super, super important to us. But how do we let our very, very beloved audiences, viewers, potential viewers know about us? How do we communicate to them? And I think anything we do would require a 360-degree marketing and communication campaign. So we've put up some of the things that we've done, well, specific to Nigeria, but also other key territories. As you can see, we do the on-air promos, which appears on the Zee channel. Those promos also gone to 8 other channels on DSTV. And then on the DSTV Barker channel, which is channel 100. So all our promos are across 10 channels at any given time, right? We also do radio. For instance, for Dance Niger Dance, we got over 1,000 spots across 9 states, more than 10 radio stations that's running for 3 months. We've done billboards, as you can see up there, across various states. We do on-ground activations in the markets, again. Then we do e-print, which is your press releases. We do monthly highlights, and we do blogs, some of them within Nigeria. And social media, we have our own Zee campaigns, and then we also get in external media agencies to run influencer campaigns for us across specific markets in Africa. You want to play the video?
If I could just add to this slide quickly before we move on. So we do a great job of marketing, as you can see, and then from where I sit within ZTV, we then take this amazing content, we package it, and we syndicate it off to territories like Nigeria. So if there's any broadcasters in the house this afternoon, I'm the lady you come and chat to, and we can talk about doing some really great deals.
Yeah.
Extraordinary together.
Next slide. Yeah, again. Pity about the audio, but it's just to say that I think the Zee content, we've had our fair share of humor. It gives us social messaging. It can be aspirational. So I think we kind of fit the bill around for families, and we're very family friendly. So our content is pretty conservative, and anyone from all ages and genders can watch it. Thank you. We open to questions and answers.
Thank you very much. An opener and very rich content with a lot of hard work behind the scene, driving it with several platforms. Okay, I can see that your focus is mainly on entertainment programs and tilted towards the family bonding, which is what we also promote here in terms of traditional media, using local content to bond the family. Do you by chance also have a flair for developmental programs, for instance? Not necessarily with entertainment flavor. Do you understand? Developmental, chat shows, talk shows, children's programs, documentaries, these are all genre of television programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
In terms of collaboration now.
Thank you. Yes, we're very, very open to collaboration. I think that's one of the key reasons we are here and attending Nemcea, because we'd love to understand or to get pictures on how to work with us better. Maybe, and to be totally honest, maybe not documentaries as much, but definitely talk shows, definitely development programs within talk shows. We're very keen on investing back into the community, so very open to that and open to collaboration. So please come speak to myself, well, Desiree. Yeah, after this. Great, yes.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that when you form your decision on languages and all that in different sub-Saharan area and all that, what determines what language you decide that, okay, this is what we are doing next? For instance, the Zulu in South Africa, the Hausa in Nigeria and all that. Then again, in Nigeria market, I know that Z is very huge because Z is part of many of us, homes. Because if our wives are not watching, then our female friends are watching and all that. So I want to know why, we have 3 major languages in Nigeria. Even we know we have about 256 languages in Nigeria, but the 3 major languages, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. So I didn't see anything in Igbo or Yoruba. Then again, we have Pidgin as well. So I don't see anyone in those. Is it that your company is not ready to tap into those audience and all that? So my questions, I have 2 questions now. Do you get it? Am I clear?
Yes, you're very clear.
Thank you.
Just guide me on the first one. So how do we then, what informs our strategies going forward?
What informs your determinant when it comes to what language that you go to in each of the countries that you go to? Yeah.
Okay, so I think to answer that, I think research will then will guide us with that decision to see which is the largest market, who speaks, for instance, in South Africa, what determined that is 27.3 million people who speak it. So just based on the mass audience of that size, that will then tell us, okay, this is a good route to go. Then we're already catering to the mass audiences, and it should resonate because of the broadness of it and the largeness of the community. Yes.
Then in Nigeria, which language do you think is, has the highest?
Hausa.
Are you no, it's. Are you serious?
It's Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo.
Because virtually people speak Pidgin and Yoruba. I've seen many people who speak Yoruba. Oh, seriously? We have Yoruba in these things. Well, that will not be something we would argue here. Maybe in another forum and all that. All right, thank you. The second question,
Yes.
please.
So the second question is, well, my boss, the CEO, is right here, and he says that we are looking to launch in one of the local languages. Anyone can help us get onto a platform?
Okay. All right, the question.
Yes.
Z, what informed your decision to practice the model that's popular in Nigeria, where you grow a channel and take advertising? What informed it? And then two, why don't you sell Nigerian when someone is acquiring your content? You tend to ask the detailed questions about what channel, name, market size, potential advertising possibilities at the point of negotiating for the price for the territory. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Is this for a channel or piece of
This
content?
is a piece of content. Yeah.
Do we ask those questions? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it has to, because we have rights that, we have. Remember, we also have a domestic side of our business which is based in India, and we are allocated a certain amount of rights within Africa. So there's a set of rights for broadcasting, there's a set of rights whether that content will then appear on a VOD or catch-up service, and you can't have that piece of content showing in a theater, for instance. It is only for linear television. So there's different rights that will dictate the deal, a syndication deal, as Des knows. And I think that is what guides us. So, yeah.
Good. The next one is, do you have a YouTube channel where your premium contents are streaming?
No. Because we don't have social media rights. We only have broadcast rights on linear television with restricted rights for catch-up video on demand platforms. So when we get a piece of content, it's only for Z World. If DSTV comes and asks us, we need this for Showmax and we need this for a catch-up option on the DSTV decoder, then that has to be worked into the contract to say, right, we can give you rights, but it's only for 7 days, and then only for 6 months, and then it comes off, because then that blocks us from giving those rights to other platforms. And you have to, and they ask for it sometimes as a value add. We may not monetize on it. So we're still a business at the end of the day, So, yes.
Do you think that YouTube will affect your business in future?
Not really. It can affect it if you have identical content duplicated onto YouTube, but that also, until we release it or it's pirated, we're not going to release that to a social media platform. If we do, it'll also be according to the audiences. Remember, social media, except for YouTube, want bite-sized content. It's instant gratification. They want to binge, they want to stack the episodes, they want it now. So, yes. So I don't think we will go that route in the near future, but it's not to say in 2 years the market's going to change, the world is going to change, that it may not be something we will look at.
Final.
Right now, we won't.
The final question.
Yes.
Your channel is popular and it's a companion of every home, and I'm a content buyer. But I buy for small channels, small territories. What I have noticed is that your popularity and success has affected my niche purchases. So if I'm buying for Lagos, the advertisers will tell me I've already bought ad on that program, because I buy flight on a select channel and then seek advertising on it. Okay. So that has been a challenge. If I say I want a Z content, it's already been shown. And so it affects my territory, even though it's a small territory. For example, in a state called Delta, and you tell them this content is available, so, oh, my wife's watching it. And I talk to the advertiser, so how is that affecting purchases from local broadcasters, some of them that are in this room, and how, what deal do you have to mitigate that so that they will be encouraged to buy?
So I'm assuming that at your stage you're talking about content that you would want to purchase that's potentially not been on the popular platform in Nigeria. We have a library of over 5,000 pieces of content available to us. So we can send you a selection of content that has never been on any of the channels. We really have a plethora of different not different genres, I mean it's mainly general entertainment, but different content that has never been seen before, and we can create a selection specifically for your audiences. And that would set you apart.
Also, I think if you leave the window period long enough between what played originally on the channel and then you take it to another channel, I can tell you for a fact that audiences, and a little bit of psychology here to just give you this, ever since COVID, what we found that sometimes works, well most times work better, is content that has been seen before, shockingly enough. They want the twist of fate to come back. They want the Ganga to come back. They want the Kundali, this is fate, to come back. And I'll tell you why. Since COVID, there's been an unpredictability across the world, right? And your environment is unpredictable. The number of deaths are unpredictable. The people who have fallen ill. There's been loss has been the theme in COVID for 3 years, right? So what we found is people want the tried and tested content, and they don't mind it because they need the predictability. I need to know that this couple's going to get together. I need to know that this child is going to survive this divorce or whatever is happening in the show. So weirdly enough, people's viewing patterns across the world has changed, where the exciting suspense, thriller stuff that we were like dying and hankering for pre-COVID is not as good on linear television as a content that they watched already, and they can predict the outcome because it makes them feel safe. I don't sit there tense. What's going to happen? Is this girl going to get kidnapped? No, I know she's going to get kidnapped, but hey, I know that she's going to be rescued. That predictability, that sense of safety watching. So to your point, that could be a selling point in the sense that tried and tested content post-COVID tends to do well, if not better, than brand new content, and we've seen this on our channel. And you see it in our nostalgia, what we call internally a working term, as a nostalgia block from 3 to 6. The reason we have it there is not because we don't have content, it's because it actually works as well as prime time. Because people don't always want to be tense. They say, I'm too tense when I watch the new shows. When I watch the shows I've watched, I feel nice, I feel calm, I'm in control of the outcome on your series. So that 3 to 6 block on Z World, excellent, because it's predictable. All right, yes.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm Tolani. So we've seen what you've done in terms of localizing content for Africa. And as a content creator, are you looking at creating content? Because you said you're actually domiciled in India too, right? Yes. So are you looking at creating Nigerian content for India, thereby exporting our own content? Because what you do is you're exporting your own content to us here, and we've accepted it. You have a lot of eyeballs on your channel. Now, are you looking at taking our own content, localized content, to India? Are you looking at collaborating with content producers, local content producers here?
Can I tell you,
okay.
I think it was a loaded question. I don't know. Okay, see, again, to the gentleman who asked me here, determines our strategy, all right, of customization, localization, all of that is research. And there has to also be a sizable expat community or a market there and a demand for the content, right? What we can do is take Nigerian content sub-Saharan Africa, all right? But we haven't done the research and we haven't done the work to know how does Nigerian content rate and rank and what's the size of the expat community based in India. Like if we go to the US or you go to the UK, there's a sizable expat Nigerian community that knows about the world. They know the content because they're tapping back home, they're watching it, you know, in the short clips on YouTube, for instance. But to be honest, for right answer will be no, because there's no work done behind it to measure the market size or capture the market size and the demand in India. But across Africa, yes.
Okay, Desiree, we will be having the business conversation after now. Thank you very much.
Yes. Oh, time. Okay. If there's no more questions, any more? Okay, we're good. We're at the stand if you want to come and chat to us some more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Z Entertainment. Thank you. We will go in straight into the next session, and I want to call on the moderator for the next session, and the person of Mr. Kingsley Omoefe. Mr. Kingsley, please. While we wait for him, we'll ask the DJ to please give us some interlude.
Lantiremo, dorime, ameno, omanare
Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good time. So this session will be discussing short content creation, an emerging trend in Africa. The Nigerian case is in focus. We'll also be looking at TV and radio show that sells, getting your audience, talking to them, listening and watching, and engaging them. On this panel, we have excuse me. I just want to get the name right so that I won't have to. Okay, we have first Miriam Akbaokagi Green, aka Tahoma. She's a content creator and a brand influencer. Please. We have Sheun Akinola, Skywalker, talent manager and Piero manager with Skywalker. Sheun Akinola, please. Sheun Akinola, thank you. Next one we have Mr. Peter Amanboyo, MDCU of Aman Creations and all that. Mr. Peter Bio, please a round of applause for them. Thank you, please. Next we have Alaja Amina Mohammed. She's the MD CEO of Ames Media Communication. Ajia Amina Mohammed, thank you. And last but not the least, we have Ayobami Olugbenga Wise, content creator with Top Radio and a performance expert. Please. Okay, so I think the still ones available. We have Dr. Victor Okai. He's the president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. Directors Guild is the guild housing all the movie directors in Nigeria. Dr. Victor Okai, please. A round of applause for Dr. Victor Okai. Thank you very much. Welcome. Please, sir. Thank you very much, guys, for coming to this session. It's an honor to have you guys with us. It's a two-pronged session. Two messages, so we're going to take them together. First, we're looking at short-form content creation, and we're looking at TV and radio show that sells. And we have some experts who are going to put some light to this stuff. When we talk about short-form content and radio and TV, it's a whole lot of, it's a big business. It's a whole lot. So I'll first call on Miriam Tauma, who is a content creator, to us about the rise of short-form content and more specifically comedy as related to our environment. And we look at the rise of a lot of platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and all that. How does that come to play in the business of short content creation? Please.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. First of all, sir, Akpa Okagi.
Akpa Okagi.
Yes.
Thank you.
I know it's very hard, but I'll always just preach the gospel.
Akpa Okagi. Correct, nice.
Okay, for short form, I guess it's been emerging for a long time. We just didn't pay attention to it. And I think it has gotten to the stage where we cannot, I don't know if that's the right word, but let me just use deny or push it, ignore. Yes, it has gotten to the point where we cannot ignore it anymore. And this is something that we can count in because it's something that people just wake up in the morning to and make a living from. So all of these platforms, YouTube, Twitter has recently started paying. So it's something that you can actually sit down and say, I'll do it and I'll teach my child how to do it too. So it is, and definitely with the way things are going, I mean, no one can see the future, but you can actually see that this thing will grow even bigger in the future. And you just have to key into it and do whatever that is trending. Okay, not like the trending, but whatever that is in trend to make sure that you are abreast with this thing so that when other things come up, it will favor you. Just like Twitter started paying, no one ever thought about it. I didn't think about it, but I just really just add that Twitter account for having sake because everybody has it. And now that it started paying, then you can key into it. People that didn't do Twitter then, because Twitter is very toxic, but I don't care. I just post my content and I go. And I know people that will just say, no, I don't think I'm ever going to do Twitter. And for them to start off now, it's going to be like kind of hard. So that's just what I meant by keeping up with the trend so that if the life goes this way, you go with it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Still talking about short form. Leo, you've been doing a lot of short form, you're doing stuff and all that. So what kind of content do you think I should create that will be engaging for the viewers, knowing that I know you are in the Gen Z environment and all that. A lot of us are not in that space. So what kind of content do you think we can create to attract audience or attract viewership to our channels?
Okay, excellent. Thank you for this moment. I, as a person, would like to ask you a question. Are you referring to the creator as someone who is also a Gen Z or the creator as someone who is past Gen Z? Because they are two different worlds. If somebody like you wants to create content that the Gen Zs will love, you actually have to behave like a monkey to catch a monkey. But we are not monkeys here, literally speaking. Thank you, Thelma. Okay, so for people who would like to make content that will be attractive to young people, you have to actually think the way they think. I think that also cuts for people who are into animation. Yeah, you see, those people who are behind the production knows about colors children love. They know about tunes children would always want to listen to again. they know about similar things that has to do with the voice. You know, imagine someone like Dwayne Johnson doing a voiceover for a character like Maui in Moana, you know, and all these incredible things. So they actually have to study what Gen Zs would love to relate with. Yeah, so now I find Kate Shaw dancing a lot, doing aerobics on Instagram with her dance teacher and her fit farm. So you see, yes, why would she not get TikTok likes? Yeah, she would, because she's dancing happy feet and she's dancing na 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 na, you know. So that's practical. So if you want to actually have Gen Zs do look your way, you need to actually do what will make them look your way. You're welcome, sir.
I hope we're taking notes for those of us who are past the age of the Gen Zs, we content creator. There's a whole lot of money to be made in that space. A lot of money. But like you said, like Thomas said, we just look at like, hi, okay, not them. They just the. I remember when started short content from what's their name now? The popular comedy on YouTube. What's the name now? The one that had Princess and Angel. You know, sorry to those of us who get hardcore filmmakers. What did they do? Yeah. Just put phone for one corner and just begin to rub it. But look at it today, are massive today. Emanuela.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to start changing our perceptions, how we can start making. We saw the session before now where we were talking about airtime and that. We don't buy airtime. There's a platform where you can express yourself free and also make money. Plenty of it. Right? Mr. Peter Boyo, please, can you speak to... You work with a lot of Gen Zs, I know that, and you are not in the age of the Gen Z category. So, but how do you bridge that gap between our generation and the Gen Z generation so that they can know, like he said, we need to behave like them, we need to do things that are within what they like and what they expect. Please speak to that.
Well, first of all, I am an old youth. I'm a Gen Z from the Gen Z generation, so I cut across borders. But like I always say, filmmaking is filmmaking. If you're doing a 1-minute skit or you're doing a feature-length movie, it's still the same production. It's still the same production, and it's still the same elements that you have to look at. You need a camera, and it doesn't matter what camera you're using, it's who and camera. Because I got 2 awards, Africa Smart Film Festival. I got 2 awards for doing a movie with my phone. I did a short movie, it was 15 minutes, and I shot it in Zanzibar, Ghana, and Nigeria. And they were like, are you sure you did this with your phone? And I said, yes. I shot it, I edited it, I did the graphics with my phone. So it doesn't matter what you're using, it's who is using it and how you use it. So
this is where this is where you clap now. Thank you very much.
So did I deviate from your question because I don't remember?
No. No, bridging the gap between here.
Yeah, so bridging the gap. I mean, content is content. What might be funny to you might not be funny to me. What might be funny to this age group, I'll be like, what are these people doing? And then what might be funny to me, they'll say, look at this old man with dreadlocks, wearing shorts, you know. So whatever is funny to the individual differs, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of your ethnicity. And then what do we look at? We look at content, we look at what's trending, we look at originality. Sorry? Yeah. They have messages. And then timing.
All right.
The timing. You have to deliver your message in 2 minutes, short content. Someone like me, I'm very data conscious because, yes. So I want to get that message in the first 3 minutes. 10 seconds. And there are people that just go like this. So if you don't get your message across in that 10 seconds, you've lost your audience. And then we look at recognition. Like if Mama G does something, everybody will watch it.
Right.
if Mr. Lagbaja does something, say, who is this one? They're doing the same thing, but because we recognize that person, so whatever goes for you might not go for the other person. So bridging the gap, I just say, is content and what goes for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I'll come to my Victor Kai. Like I said earlier, those of us, in quote, hardcore, the real filmmakers, we had to look at that space of short form and all that. Sir, can you two speak to how we, the real filmmakers, can basically reorientate our mind, to change our mindset, to see how we can start doing production, how basically how we can come into this industry, because you are heading a whole lot of people, younger generation, older people in your guild as a director. What is the Directors Guild doing? And as a person, what are you doing so that people can also go into that aspect of production? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think in terms of having my fingers on the pulse, or having fingers on the pulse, I saw the future a very long time ago when I started in Short Film Festival, over 11 years ago. And that became a platform where men were able to express themselves. And if I'm not mistaken, till tomorrow, we're the only ones. Over 8 years ago, we gave an award to Nemcea, Emanuela. Yeah. So I saw the future. So the question I ask you, you're asking the right person and the wrong person. Wrong person, because if you look at my face, you would think, okay, he's ancient of days.
Right.
But in truth, I'm more current than tomorrow's newspaper.
Right.
And I'll tell you in a moment.
Please, a round of applause for
no,
him, please.
I'll tell you, I'm not joking.
I know.
Yeah. Nemcea, I did a research and presented a paper at a conference in Cameroon a couple of years ago. Then he was about, is it 6 or 7 million subscribers? Now it's over 8 million. I don't know if it's gone to 9 million. And I will shock you here. When I went to the back end, because I also have a background in digital marketing apart from filmmaking. So I went to the back end and I found this guy was making, at the time, now he doesn't make that well because they don't pay as much anymore, but he was making between 350 and 400 and, no, 380 and between 380 and $420,000 monthly. No movie maker dead or alive in Nigeria makes as much money as Nemcea. I preach the gospel of Smesme movies. What do I mean by Smesme? I said I saw it a long time ago. You will look at it and say it's Smesme. Don't get me wrong, I'm a purist, like you know. Right. But I also recognize the fact that, first, there's a convergence of media. Right. Everything is now on the palm top. 2, attention span is very, very short. Just like Boyo said, if you don't capture them in the first few seconds, you lost them. Then he talked about face recognition. If you see somebody you like, you stay a bit longer. And we are in the fast food, not just fast food, That's why short forms are what? I'll give you a small example. My wife, for instance, till tomorrow does not want to agree with me that all these kids you see, that the soap operas they do now, these kids are soap operas. Right. You will see a couple quarreling and you'll be taking sides. You don't know they are setting you up. None of it is real. These people are all fake. What they are doing, they are setting you up. You will see them fighting and everything, and she's just there. And she'll be telling me, do you know that? You know? And it comes in the short form. So you see them it doesn't take long. So you don't know when you spend 3 hours watching the short form, going from one to the next. Does it not happen to you? Now, the mistake a lot of my colleagues make is everybody wants to go to Netflix. Everybody wants to go to the cinema. Not everybody needs to go to Netflix. Not everybody needs to go to the cinema. You won't bribe Nemcea to go to cinema. He won't waste his time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because he has found a niche for himself. And this niche, you can find yours. It must not necessarily be comedy. Like I've said to people, if you do a short form video, not even drama, of 30 ways to commit suicide, believe me, there's a market for it. Right. Huh? There's somebody there looking for how to commit suicide. Now, the more niched you are, the more successful you'll be. Why do I say so? You don't need to do something for everybody. You can target only a niche of 10,000 people globally. They will be faithfully following you video after video, and you will make your money. I'll give you a small example. If you know how to cook, let's say, what type of food now? Give me an ethnic group. Let's say tiv. Tiv. You know, you think there's no market for it. Do you know how many women in diaspora are married to tiv men? They want to know how to cook. They want to keep. They went to a man's stomach. A man's heart is his stomach. That's what they talk. The Igbo women, the Caribbean women, all the people that married them, even the Igbo women married to tiv men, they want to cook tiv food. So they will be glued to your channel. They will be watching there. When they want to cook, they will put your video on. You already have a niche market. When the children are born, they will, as they are growing up, the daughters, they say, look, come and watch this so that you know how to cook. You understand what I'm saying? Sorry, I'll soon round up. I just try to make this point. So the thing is this, that the short form is what's on right now. You talk about radio, and that includes podcasts as well, whether visual podcasts or just audio podcasts. Well, even as graphic, I'm talking about podcasts as audio now. Yeah. You know, you can augment it with visuals if you want. These are things that, and we're talking to an audience here now. Don't talk about Gen Z alone. Money is for everybody. Right. Mackenzie is not Gen Z. Right. But the money is making is Gen Z on steroids. That's right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So that I don't take too much time, what I want to say is simply this. The short form has come to stay because of the nature of the way the world is today. Everybody is on the move. And we all want, you don't have time to sit down and watch 1.5 hours. You can do that on a big screen, but on your palm top, you don't want to spend 1.5 hours watching anything. If you want to reach your market, do the short form, be niched, and you make your money clean. You just clean out and then, you know, chop, clean out like say nothing they happen. Thank you.
Applause for him, sir. Let's go. Let's change direction a bit now to radio that sells, and TV sells. So, Mr. Ayobami Olugbenga-Wise, you've been creating content for a while now, radio and TV, yeah? So, how do we create content for radio or TV that sells?
All right. Excuse me. Thank you very much for that. And I want to say a big thank you to the organizers for this opportunity. So most times when people create content, they tend to always create content from their own perspective. And I think that's the very first wrong step you're making. Currently, I'm even trying to sort out some content with a client at the moment. And for everything that they are raising their eyebrows at, it is from the perspective of, we're protecting my brand, we're protecting our image, we're protecting everything. I'm like, I totally understand you. But you need to step outside and then find a way to create a balance and understand that the content you're creating primarily is for the audience. I'm going to take it even down to radio, as it were, you know. And that's why we see a lot of broadcasters these days who tend to kind of like dwell so much on the weight of their skills, more than what is required. So you speak well, you have a good voice, you look good, and then you put all of that out there first, because you feel that's what sells, that's what everybody wants. That helps you with balance, right? But that is not sustainable. So most people need to realize that you need to first begin to ask yourself, if you're going to create content that is sellable, the content does not belong to you. So you're playing music on radio, and you're creating a playlist, and this happens for those that probably work on radio. You're creating a playlist for the listeners, and you're creating a playlist of songs that you like to listen to. So that's the example. It doesn't work that way. So you need to understand what's the timing. You need to understand, the demography. You need to understand, play the script out in your head. So I laugh at sometimes, in the morning I'm listening to radio and I skim through a lot of radio stations and I'm listening to the kind of songs that is being heard in the morning and I'm like, what is going on? And it's now become, quote and unquote, forgive my French, a competition of, folly on display. And the same thing happens to the different time zones. And we've mixed, we've thrown away the entire space of the zones or the zonings of radio. We had the breakfast time for a reason. We had the lunch time for a reason. We had, the drive time evening for a reason. Where have we thrown all of these to? It's a big question we need to ask. I know there's a place of trying to adapt and trying to be flexible, but I think we're throwing the real substances away right here. So when you're creating content, first things first is, whose eyes are you viewing this from? Who is going to watch this? What do they want to listen to? What, catches their fancy, and all. And then I would probably top it up with these two as well, is that there are no sentiments and emotions when it comes to content creation. There are no sentiments and emotions. So what are you trying to do because you feel, you like, no. Budgets are created annually. And every year, the people that you're trying to get funding from, have channeled resources into certain directions. And are you asking yourself, where is the money now? Is it in, every sector will have money, no doubt about that. But you can tell where the chunk of the money is going per season and per time. So is it going into the breweries? Is it going into tech? Is it going into, do you understand? And then you now begin to now say that, okay, I can now begin to drive content around where the money is. Because, in the end, it's still all about Naira and Kobo. Or maybe I should say dollars and pounds.
I want to stay with you, Mr. Wise. Radio. I'm quite passionate about radio. I like listening. I'm always on the road in Lagos. My wife calls me Uber driver pro because I'm always on the road. I drive all three corners of. Like yesterday, while we were setting up, planning this, I did times Ikeja to Sulere 3 times yesterday with the traffic and all that. I wasn't, but my companion is the radio. Now, growing up, I come from Warri where we don't. Well, what I if that carry and is a lot of the same. Thank you very much. So, also growing up, if you want to learn how to speak, like I said, I grew up in Delta State in Warri, where pidgin English is the way of life, and we have issues with pronunciations and sentence structures and all that. But again, the time you learn how to speak the language and you improve yourself. And they used to tell us that if you want to learn how to speak good English, listen to the radio. But today, what do we get from radio? Wrong sentences, bad speeches, name it. I can remember a situation where somebody said something happened in Venezuela, and the radio, one of the radio players said, "Where's Venezuela?" For God's sake, on radio, you're asking your company, where is Venezuela? When you're supposed to be teaching people where these places are. So we're supposed to tune to radio and learn. But today is different. Can you speak to what is wrong with radio? Please speak to that. And what can we do? No, because I'm passionate, because I hope a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. Yes, when you listen to radio, you're surprised at what they're doing. The people who make radio today, make people listen to radio, are independent producers.
Yeah.
Independent producers.
More.
If you look at all the radio stations, I'm not casting aspersion here, but I'm saying what's on the ground, what's reality. They don't have programs. They just put play three and call one back. They just say, ladies and gentlemen, my name is I listen to Chico all the time. Chico, Charles, play three, call one back. So you can call in. We're going to play 3 songs. You vote in. I'll spend my money listening to you. I'll spend money to call you and tell you what song to play back. Hello? Please.
I like the question, and I would say the bulk of this challenge we have now lies on the table of the media owners. Yeah. And we have switched away from, and I'm trying to be careful in saying this really, but we've switched away from the place where we had truly employed the people who were capable and highly professional into people who we feel kind of like fits the bill, whether it's audio and even TV. So now we're in that space where, and it started happening the moment, and this is no disrespect to anybody, it started happening the moment we had a high influx of, exactly.
The Kumbos.
Yes, that came into that space and just infiltrated the entire space. And all of a sudden, you didn't have enough trust in your own people anymore, who had gone through proper training, you know, in terms of what content should be, information should be, even structural entertainment should be all about. Now, we have people just selling themselves. So they even sell themselves more than they sell. So that's where we are. So if the general managers, the station heads can take some bold steps and begin to say to themselves, let's draw the line. You know, I mean, and especially on radio is even easier, right? Because you don't even see the people. Yeah. So what's the force? Exactly. Just, you know, beyond sounding good, also sound professional. You know, exactly. So, I know. And I think it's due to the pressure now where, well, we've evolved into the digital space where you now run both simultaneously, right? Where you're heard on radio and you're also seen online at the same time. So there's a bit of pressure there. I totally understand. But we can, I trust and I believe that we can always create a balance and looking for someone that is good looking and still knows the job. Or at best, train the person that is good looking. I don't know how often, I come from the place where before I got into radio over 15 years ago, you know, it was so difficult because you needed proper training.
Right. Right.
So now, and even when you got the job, you are certain that for the first 2 years, you are involved in some serious, crazy training. And you are totally nobody. But now, you know, we've thrown away all the trainings. We have actually watered down the training schools, you know, and said, you know, what good can come out of them? You know, so we need to get back to those spaces. And I think if we begin to consciously get back to those spaces and the heads of those stations begin to take charge, then we can actually, you know, find a way to, you know, solve those problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him. Still on that aspect, Alaja, let's just translate it to TV. You've been on TV for years, for ages. Well, before we go there, please a round of applause for Mr. Wise. You guys like the way he speak, right? Did you enjoy when he speak? Not this one on radio where they just talk anyhow and all that. Please a round of applause for him, right? So, Madam Ajia, you've been on NT for ages. We listen to you guys speak on English on TV, and we are proud of you guys. Where did we get it wrong? And how does training, he talked about training, we watered down training. All Nigerian Broadcast Academy is here. You hardly see people, it's weed is all growing, it's grown all over the places. How do we, just speak to it, please.
Thank you. Let's save time. Thank you very much. Yes, like you said, some of us are used to the core traditional media that you would now say analog, vis-a-vis the Gen Z, like they said earlier. Of course, let's talk about even the content itself. If you are creating a content, you should have your audience in mind, and your concept is very key. So it's not a question of, okay, I have a content that I want to create for an advertiser or a client. That is possible if the concept is developed together ab initio. But you see, some of us are used to very long content because of our background, half hour, 1 hour, and we are still stuck to that. But the issue of last year at the same forum, we got a new slang which the representative of the Deputy Senate President took away: snackable content. And that means that short content, short video. And that is what is in it now, where even if you have long content, you snack it, as it were. Because if you go through your social media, before you know anything, it is the video that comes up. When you finish watching, it's always very tempting to watch. Finish watching, they send you a link to watch a longer content. We have talked about training. That's very key. Key in the sense that with the advent of citizen journalism, of course, a lot of caution was thrown into the wind. And then without everybody now going on social media, you create your content, and that is what is selling. The skit makers, and it interests everybody. Everybody is under tension. So you can't but watch. Even me, I'm sitting here, sometimes 30 minutes, 1 hour, I forget that I'm using my data. I'll be strolling after one of the, because it's relieving, so to say. We must say the truth. It's very relieving. Let me cool my brain a bit before I go back to the other hard work. You understand? And they are selling. So to answer your question is that if you must practice, we must go into training. It's not to go into the 4 walls of any institution. You have a veteran to mentor you. The academy we are starting is something. But what we have now is somebody come, you employ somebody, 6 months, 1 year, I want to be on my own. I want to be a freelancer. You know, sometimes I get really embarrassed when a lot of my mentees or former staff, it still happened to me recently in Abuja. She ran after me, ensured that I got my ride and all that. Anytime I'm on interview panel, they will ask you, who trained you? And by the time she says my name is geologist. So it's a question of patience among the young practitioners. If you have not gone into the 4 walls of film school or television school or anything, learn it before practice. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, Ajia. Please a round of applause for her. Let me go a bit unconventional. There's a request from the junior of Click Nigeria Radio Online. He's Ohiani. Mr. Ahis, are you here? Okay. Quickly. Microphone, please.
Very much. I was just back there and we were talking, and Mr. Stephen was like, I need to share. I've really had a good time, and I think I've benefited so much. I was telling him that the players in radio need to be seated here.
Right.
Yes. I think our mommy here helped us to take a letter to my DG during the week. It was when I was talking to him in preparation for this event that I got to know that Radio Nigeria, or FRCN, is not partnering on this at all. And with a panel like this, I told him that our chief executive or any of the general managers should be here, because you asked a vital question. What happened to radio? They have both answered. See, where there is no training, where there is no mentorship, we cannot have the radio that can inform, that can entertain or educate or uphold any values at all. Even people who have gone on to become whatever, even on TV, in the movie industry and all that, if you really look back at their history, discover that a lot of people have background in radio. Right. They started with radio. You know, I've spoken with a lot of TV persons who said their first experience was radio and all that. I've had experience with the BBC. He said something that, you know, you would probably be in training for the first 2 years. When I first entered the BBC, I didn't do anything for 3 months. I was moving from one place to another, to another, to another. What I do with my own little unit, if they send you to me under my channel, I would train you first. But the real issue is there is no training. You talked about the broadcasting school. I'm telling you today that presently, when I got on the job first, I was first sent to Shogunle. Right. And I was sent to Shogunle again for intermediate course. Right. But I have people who are under me, whom I was the first person. When I came back, you know, to come and take up the role they asked me to take up, I started carrying out trainings. And people who were level 12 officers were telling me that since they joined this organization, this is the first training that they are receiving. So how do you expect to get anything good? So that is a real problem. And I'm hoping that we can get, you know, content out of this place to make things better, you know, after now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ahis Ohiani. Thank you very much. She needed to let it out. That's why I went unconventional. So back to Noma.
Okay, sorry, please. I just wanted to quickly add, you know, to that. I would also crave the indulgence of the right, you know, quarters when it comes to the training school itself to up their game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You need to step up to the level at the pace at which the world is evolving. The competition out there is such that the value you get there is second to none. Let's not joke about that. But in terms of the approach and how it's now delivered, would have the random people, average person, go online to want to get trained. Now, I don't have a problem with getting several trainings online, right, you know, and all, but I believe that there's a difference between learning and education. Learning is you know, just binging on many things. Education is structured learning. Right. And which is what the FR or MBA now, as it's called, offers. You know, it's in fact teaches you process. I mean, you're there for almost 2 months, and from there, you move on to having your internship for a period and then peak. But now, I mean, everybody, she was talking about working for 3 months without doing a thing. Now, the interns that come from various houses, from the first day,
They're on
want
radio.
to get on the radio.
Yes.
Because that's what they just feel.
Radio is here.
So we need to have, the schools, step up their games in terms of the curriculum, the content, expansive learning, and all of that. And also maybe more private, bodies can actually, add to that so that we can get good value for, the money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for my team. I hope you're having a good time. Taoma, a lot of people are sending questions and stuff for me. So let me come back to you. A lot of your crowd, they're there for this place.
I want to be. That's it.
Yeah. Now, when you started, how easy were you to start, and how were you able to stay to where you started making money and making it a business? And second part of it, why at it, what should we run away from? What are the mistakes that we're likely to fail? What should we run away from when we're doing our content for those platforms? Thank you.
Thank you. I like the fact that this question is just a little bit related to what we're arguing about, just what we're talking about. Yeah. So for me, when I started off as a cinematographer. Yeah, I wanted to learn cinematography. Yeah, so I saw my boyfriend then. He came to the house and he was like doing this cloning video, and I was wondering that what's his brother doing and all of those things. So I got so much interest in it, and I wanted to learn it. And that was what this comedy was just like Mokoyaba. I just turned to it. So I didn't know it was going to be like this. I honestly didn't know. And I really wasn't like a social media person that I would know that, okay, this is what's going on. I only knew maybe to go and Facebook then. So I would just normally just shoot my content and post it, and sometimes I don't even get likes, and sometimes I get likes from my family members that just want to support me and say, okay, you're doing good. Yeah. So I didn't think about it, although thank God, I mean, some people don't have, they definitely don't have what I had then, but my school was a school that you need, if you are coming to school, you need a laptop and all of those things. And my brother really had interest in photography, so we had camera, I had really everything at my disposal, and I made good use of it. But a lot of times now, a lot of people now, I get a lot of questions when people just come to meet me. I've been doing this for like 1 year, and I can't see anything. I'm like, 1 year, like when I was 1 year into this thing, I cannot see anybody. I can't see anything. And I feel like it's just a waste of time when you basically sit people down and you start to tell them, you see, you have to be consistent. I feel like they don't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be consistent. Right. They just want to monetize now. Mm-hmm. And monetize. A lot of times they just tell people yes, in the end, all these things about dollar and pounds, I'm not using naira, thank you very much. So in the end, that's what it's all about. But if you have a bigger goal, I feel like money should not come first. Yes, money is, yes, money it is.
For this generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just feel, like as much as you are going for money, you should also go for your goal. Because when you get to your goal, you will sit down and that money will come to you. Yeah. So, but people don't want to listen to that. They don't want to hear it. And that's why, for me, I've never even trained anybody, because I'm a badass cinematographer. I'm just saying it.
This is where you clap.
But I never trained anyone, because according to, sorry, ma, I don't know your name. The mommy that just spoke, she was talking about radio, yes, and the fact that people don't want to sit to learn. And also, my mommy here spoke about the fact that when they learn in 6 months, I've never even had anybody that stays 6 months. 6 months is a long time. Mm-hmm. Yes. When they learn 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then they start to give attitude. They start to do so many things. Yeah. And if there's anything I hate in my life, I can beat you. I hate disrespect. Yes.
Right.
So if there's anything I don't like disrespect, so I'd rather just stay on my lane. And when people say, I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to learn, some people don't want to learn because they love it. They want to learn because they feel like, once I learn this thing, I'll go and make money. And if there's anything that you cannot rush into learning, it's editing. Editing is very boring. You have to have the mind for it.
Right.
So
hate editing.
I'll just, once you say you want to learn, I don't want to waste my time to teach you how to cut. And next day, I'm not finding you trying to cut that thing. So I don't teach people. And when people just say, I just say the normal cliche thing, be consistent, pray, and all of that. But I know as it's entering here, it's removing because you just want to do TikTok live and make money. So I'd rather just say, just go for what you want to. I know my dreams, I know my goals and my objectives, and I know what I'm going for. And there's some times that I would just be low, and probably I'm not collecting some jobs or I'm not doing some things, and money is not coming in. But I'll definitely be pushing because life is not a bed of roses. Shemo get it. Okay. Life is not, there will be down times and up times. And when the down times come, you have to just deal with it.
That's right.
So basically, that's just what it is for me. Sorry, what's my question again?
Mistakes that we should avoid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, mistakes to avoid. I'll just say everybody's journey is different. And if I tell you the mistakes to avoid, what if those are the best things that you should actually go for? So I'll just say if you just need to study your journey and know how you want to go in life. Because if you follow my step, the things I've avoided or the things I have chook my head inside, if you choke your head inside, they can cut it off. So just study your journey and let people, also have someone, if there might not be a lot of people, have someone that believes in your journey. For me, if it's not for my husband, I will never be here. So have someone that...
Shout out to the husband. Shout out to the husband.
So have someone that when you are thinking of giving up, that person would gear you up.
That's right.
To tell you that keep going. No matter how much, even if the road is not clear. The road is not always clear. You just have to put your head in it.
Thank you very much. Play a round of applause for her. We still have some questions. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's just do just a round up quickly. Shehu, Leo, what platforms can we make money from?
Okay, excellent.
I don't want to do long form anymore. I know I'm no more filmmaker. I want to do short form platform. What can we make money from? Which platform can we make money from?
Okay, in no particular order, but from the extent of recency, Twitter just begun. There's YouTube Shorts. I have an influencer who makes so much money from Snapchat. Our streaks are always like, Snapchat is another world entirely that is very unexplored by a lot of people who don't know it. Then TikTok, I have my celebrity kids that are making so much money, Vanessa Jones and their likes from TikTok. I have and everybody knows Instagram gives you money because your brand sells quicker. Brands who you've been hoping to work with begin to even run after you. You can imagine you having someone like Toby Bakre do something for Nissan. I remember because actually I'm a stunt driver. I drive well. So I'm usually
say it outside the can.
I'm a stunt driver. I actually drive. I actually can do those
stunts.
So I have been part of a lot of auto shows. So I was actually impressed to see my friends who actually have that same flair. Begin to start doing things for Nissan, and we are getting noticed by Mercedes-Benz and all these kind of brands that we had never thought about. So it's about doing those things well. Every platform has funds for you. Even if To Go were still to be around, I'm sure To Go will have started paying some people because you will have gone those ranks that, shout out those who did To Go. We have threads now. A lot of people are jumping on the thread line. I don't know if everybody's trading. So we have to start looking into these platforms. There's very so. In fact, I don't know. The list is just endless.
It's
Now
endless.
there are some platforms that are not even in Africa yet,
Right.
that are Euro-based. Like Vizkit was around. WeChat is huge in China. Yes. So these platforms pay incredible amounts in.
Aji, are you hearing?
Yeah. So, but a lot of people don't know these things, and then we actually have a demography of people that when they hear that this thing is where people is catching out. There's Twitch, yes, yes. There's this stuff where there's this platform where it is Discord, Discord. And there are a lot of platforms that, in fact, if you actually go Google social media platforms globally, you'll be dazed because there are hundreds, if not even more.
Wow.
Yes, so let's look into all these aspects, and then don't do follow. Everybody is now looking for subscribers on YouTube because they hear that YouTube is giving money. Now, nobody actually, a lot of people don't know Twitter is paying, but the time the word hits the street, that Twitter is paying, you find people now coming to Twitter.
That for the first time.
Exactly.
Twitter is paying.
Twitter has started paying.
I
Yes.
don't need
Yeah.
YouTube.
Thank God to Elon Musk. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Shout
we
out
have
to
been
him.
on Twitter for like about 10, 13 years. I remember my first one was in 2008. Yes. So we've been around for a long time. So it's all just adding up right now. It's our time. So we actually have a lot of things to give to diligence. Yeah, we have to pay those dues so that these platforms will pay us in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him. BOT, sir, High Chief Emeka Osai, I want to propose that for next year, where is Project Director, Vice President, I want to propose that we have a full session for social media content make. In fact, before Nemcea, I'm also proposing that we have like a seminar, a summit, right? Just for social media. Please, I hope you guys will indulge us when we
That'll be very resourceful.
because it's very important.
Yeah.
A lot of people here have thousands of hours of content. I have 4 programs, 3 series, TV drama series. Each of them, the minimum that they have about 80 episodes.
Incredible.
Long form, 30 minutes.
Wow.
Right? And the other form they have, and they're just there. Yeah, they're just there because I'm saying they're just there. You always say that you're there. YouTube they make money. I just monetized recently.
Wow.
After many years of doing this, I know, sir, you've been preaching it. But now we know we make money. I'm not the only one. Please, can people bear me witness? I'm not the only one in this category, right? Thank you. Dr. Peter, man, please, can you just give a bit of advice to people who want to make content in the short form genre? Thank you.
Okay, I want to add to, how do you make money?
Right.
Okay, everyone is saying YouTube monetizes, Twitter monetizes, but you can post and you will not get one, what's the smallest? One farthing. Yes, because you are posting, but your post is not engaging. There's something called CTA, call to action. Do you know what that is?
No, sir.
Sorry, I'm an instructor.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, CTA means call to action. If I post this, Nemcea.
Nemcea.
And I look at it, okay, Nemcea, next. But call to action means we're having a seminar, we're having follow us, repost this, like this, watch this. So that's call to action.
Right.
So when you don't give a call to action, your post is just as useless as
every other
somebody saying it. So how do you make money? This is your best friend and your worst enemy. Because we're always holding the cell phones. I'm seeing a lot of people as we're talking, they're tweeting or they're taking pictures. WhatsApp status, we think is useless, but that's the fastest, easiest, quickest way to sell your content. Yes. Everybody looks at WhatsApp status, even if they're in ghost mode. Trust me, they're looking. Because they'll say, you did something. I said, how do you know? I didn't see you look at my views. You say, oh, okay, no, I just saw it. They watch it. Tell them, go to my YouTube page. Go to my, what's all this thing? All those ones. Yeah. Go there, like it. Watch hours, YouTube watch hours. I think the count, is it 3 seconds or 5 seconds? If you can get someone to watch your content for 5 seconds, it counts. If it's less than that, it's useless. If you post today, don't go and where you're liking, like.
Okay.
Like.
Yeah, spam like.
That means you're liking everything. Boom, 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 boom. First of all, you will destroy that person's page because they think it's a robot. So engage, like, call to action. Very important. Engagement means ask a question. Do you like blah, 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 blah? People like a lot of gossip. We're talking about the couples and all that. They do it because, yes, there's a lot. Yeah, they like morality. I didn't want to talk about that. I posted about something that happened in Oworon Shoki. Was it like a few weeks ago where I was gunned down? Like 10 views. I posted myself eating cake and ice cream. I got like 1,000 views. I posted myself in the spa. It was 1 minute, 1,000 views. Then I cut it down to 15 seconds, 37,000 views. So it depends on what you post. And people will not, if you post about helping the poor, they will not like it. They'll say, okay, we're all poor. Okay, so what, next thing? But if you post about scandal, this person is sleeping with this person's husband, it sells. I didn't say you should post it. I'm just telling you. Okay, so your content too matters, but call to action is very important because all of us, I'm not going to insult us, but we're like little kids. If you don't tell us what to do, we will not know that we need to do it.
Right.
So if you want to make money, call to action. Tell people that you want them to engage, and they will.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boyu. Please, a round of applause for him. I'm going to come back to a bit about training. Dr. Victor Okai was my first trainer in this industry as a filmmaker. A bit of my background: I started production in 1996, professionally in 1996, 97. I was production manager for Out of Bounds with RMD, 1996. My first time of calling action as a director was in 1999. Till today, I'm still directing in this industry. And people, when I mentor people, I have a lot of students from UNILAG and others I mentor, and they ask me, what kept you this long? People still call you to come and direct film, people still call you to come and produce film and all that. What kept you? I discovered that, like we all mentioned, training is very important. You need to evolve. And for the past 12, 13, 14 years, I've said to myself that I must do at least 3 training in a year. Filmmaking, cinematography, directing, management, leadership. Even if it's just a short course, I started to do that. Dr. Victor Okai, I always call you teacher. My first time at NFI certificate course in directing and cinematography, you took me. So what's the role of training in both? I just wanted to hammer on that because it's very important to all of us here, whether you're doing short form or long form. Thank you, sir. Please.
Okay, I will answer you with a short story. I witnessed the birth of my babies. So my first child, I was crazy with the camera recording. Yes, I'm mad like that. I remember the doctor, who is a friend as well, who took delivery of the child. And then there was a nurse beside him. And because it was the first baby, sometimes you have to cut the woman. The mothers here know what I'm talking about. Yes, so for the baby to come out easily. And then, as he was cutting, he asked the nurse, he said, do you know why I cut here? Do you know why I cut here? She said, no. I said, do you know why I cut here and not here? She said, no. He said, because if I went just a little above or a little below, she would have bled to death. Did you hear what I just said? Right. Now, it left a lesson in my mind. You will see bricklayers who will tell you, wait till this engineer they talk. I don't they build house since before them born and self. You can be looking and not seeing.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Cameramen just pick up camera, but there's a philosophy behind every shot. If you don't know, you don't know. What you end up doing is, I like doing that for that film. They show that camera, they roll that close up. For my next film, I go do them. Why was it done? How is it advancing the story? What is it in aid of? All you just saw is you saw a shot that you liked. If you do that, the baby will, the woman will bleed on that gun, on that operating table. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So the purpose of training, or the reason I went to this long story, is that if you don't understand, I want to use ancient English now, whether it's right or wrong. The wherefore of why, you will never get it right. Okay? Yeah. I was talking to someone recently and he said to me, Nigerian movies are good, but there's something missing. A lot of the directors don't have a background in film studies, and it shows in the movies. Right. Because in film studies, you will learn the philosophy behind it, and you will know why. That's where you begin to talk with, in semiotics, talking with signal, using your images. There are there are signs that you use and tell your story. So the long and short of what I'm trying to say is simply this. If you train, you will take informed decisions. You understand what I'm saying? You will not be experimenting. You'll be more purposeful. And when you do anything, you will do it successfully, and it will show.
Thank you very much, sir. Please a round of applause for him. Quickly, Mr. Wise, please advise, just in 60 seconds, what advice will you give? Please.
Sorry. This is important because you may not ask him that question.
Right.
The difference between, listen to my English very well, phone and phoning. You know what I'm talking about? The people who come from abroad, or those who go on radio nowadays, because they did not study phonetics and phonology, they assume the sounds, and then they sound phony. If you're trained, you will sound right. If you're not trained, you will sound phony. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you. 60 seconds, just give advice to what we need to do. Just speak to Ray. Thank you, sir.
All right. Basically, I would say that why would you not want to shorten your learning, or why would you not want to summarize or shorten your journey through proper experience or learning or mentoring or coaching, and or why? Why do you want to go through what someone else has done, or someone else has done in terms of what they've gone through? Why don't you want to shorten that? Why don't you want to save yourself some time? Why don't you want to save yourself some energy? Why don't you want to save yourself some resources? The big thing is for me that those 3 months, 6 months, 1 year that you think you're wasting, learning at someone's feet, as it were, is saving you 5 years, 10 years down the line. Right. In terms of knowledge, experience, and professionalism required for you to execute the job that you need to do. So, for me, I remember when it all started. I didn't earn a dime on radio, and I was there for over 8 months. In fact, when from MBA school, I was sent and they were asking us to pick what radio stations we wanted to go. I only went for the station where I felt that, I went to the community radio. Right. I didn't go, everybody was running after the big stations there. And someone walked up to me and said, why did you do that? I mean, this is open, that is open, why didn't you go there? And I said, I won't learn there. So I went to a place where I was going to do a lot of work, you know, that I didn't need the old paparazzi. I just wanted to learn. And I was there for 8 months. I was going from Ikeja to the island every day, you know, looking for money. Please, I need to go for the next day, you know, and I did that for that long until I got that first opportunity. You know, everybody celebrates my years on Top Radio, for example, and they don't know that it was the first day I entered into that station that I started working there, you know, simply because those years that I thought I had wasted had paid off eventually. So that's what I would tell people. You can't throw it away. You need the mentorship, you need the guidance, and it will save you many more years. And I also want to add quickly that I must celebrate Tao, you know, for the great job she's been doing.
That's right.
I've been following.
It
helps to, you know, reduce the tension on the country. In fact, at some point I just put, you know, a reminder on her page so that it just keeps coming at me whenever, you know, I need to capture the moment. You know, I feel it's absolutely bold and courageous. It's a lot of work for someone to shorten stories in 2-3 minutes. It's ridiculous. And I used to say when I watch you, but now I can say it to your face, I say you're absolutely silly.
Thank you very much. Ajia, just advise us.
Yes, without overflogging the issue, what I want to say is, first and foremost, passion. Passion and passion. If you are not in for anything, don't dabble into it. If you don't like it, it's useless. If you like what you do, the money will come eventually. If you do it well, yes, there is what is called gestational period, even for businesses. So just know that all those years of sacrifice, you definitely reap it, just like my young sister has said here. So if you do a job all because you want to make money, you will definitely fail. Definitely. So don't put money first. And some of us are speaking from experience. We that we go into the genre of TV production that you naturally say there's no money there. It is passion that kept us. Well, eventually, people will know you. They will even ask you to create content for them in that your genre of production. And then before you know it, you say boom. So passion is the key word.
Thank you.
And patience.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to take 4 questions. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, number 3. Okay, number 4. But before I ask the questions, let me ask one question. Are you open to mentorship, to mentor people? They're asking. Are you open to mentorship? Are you open to mentorship? Are you open to mentorship, size, ma? Thank you very much. Please, microphone, number 1. Microphone there, quickly.
Thank you so very much, everyone on the panel. Thank you. It was so eye-opening, this session. My name is Amaka Chibuzo-Obi, and I run a radio and TV talk show. I've been on radio for 10 years. And, you know, when we're talking about short-form, snackable content, absolutely, it got me thinking. In my mind, I'm like, okay, short-form could be easier for people in the entertainment space. Because in less than 2 minutes, you can make me laugh, right? It could be easy for people who just want, you know, to bring sort of a laid-back kind of message. And then I'm thinking to myself, how about people in talk, like have talk shows or have a movie? How do they make this into snackable content? People who have documentaries like Hajia, how do we make this into snackable content? I was sitting here just wondering to myself, is this a lost cause? Because even for me, in my 30-minute talk show, most times we end the show not completing what we want to say. Like there is so much left unsaid, even in the 30 minutes. So I'm wondering to myself, how do we do this? But then, as I was thinking, it was like the Holy Spirit answered the question. Because the answer came, and what came to me was this, I think, and this is why I said, let me say this, because I feel like we content producers need to begin to think like there is no box, right? Because as I was asking this question right here, I remembered somebody that I have seen his content on Instagram. He's called Nas Daily. He does a documentary in less than 1 minute. He's called Nas Daily. I would want us to actually look him up. He tours the world and he tells us what he sees in 60 seconds. So I feel like that answered my question, to say this is just for us to go back and ask ourselves, what is exactly what we want to bring out, and find a way to bring it down. Everything is possible. We just have to figure out how to make that possibility in our own realm.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause for her. You want to make? Okay.
Hi. I just want to, how would I say, not even, just correct one thing, and also just add to what you said. First of all, those 2-minute content is even harder than a long content, because if you do that 2-minute content and they watch it and they don't laugh, then you failed. So trying to make up, I mean, in my own line, because mine is comedy, so if I try to do 2 minutes content and it doesn't fulfill what I expect the audience to get, then it doesn't, I mean, I'm not happy. Do you get? So those 2-minute contents are a lot harder. And also, according to what Daddy said something. He said, just because your content is, I mean, I'm just saying that just because your content is long, doesn't mean you have to, how would I say, try to put it into a snackable content. Because according to what he said, nobody would tell Markangel to do 1-minute content because he knows what he's going to get on YouTube. So you need to understand that. How about your audience? If you do a 10-minute content and you post a 1 minute on Instagram, that person that wants to see what happened, that apropos that wants to see, I must hear this gist finish, will go to YouTube. So you just need to understand that it is not, let's say out of 100% of your audience, it is not the 100% that will go to YouTube to watch it. But the people that will watch it would watch. And I also don't want it to be that, okay, just because you're trying to put, in English, you know, just because you're trying to chase like a 1 minute content, you don't fulfill your own passion of discussing about a topic and talking about it and elaborating about it just because you want to fit it into 1 minute. There are people on Instagram that will see 1 minute content and then they save it. I'm like, when you say, okay, go and watch on YouTube, they are not going there now, but they save it. And when they are on the bed or they are chilling out, they go back to that content and then they watch it. I hope.
Okay, I just wanted to add something. When you want to get that snackable clip, somebody said, no sentiments. What I mean is, give it to somebody else to watch. Because if you watch it, you would think everything is important. This must be there. But if you give it to somebody else, you will even fight that person because you say, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. What do you need this for? It's not important. That's no sentiment mentality. You need it. Always have a second eye, especially if you're a script writer. But if you write a script and you give it to somebody else, you will be very upset because the person will say, what is this? Why are you talking? We don't need this. But you say, no, it has to be there. So you need that third eye. No sentiment. I think you said it. No sentiment.
Well, good evening all. Mine is like a comment. Going back to radio, connecting to what we discussed in the morning when our friend from Advan was talking about what the customers want. Now we're saying that on radio, they just say one thing and open the channels. Now, I want to take you back when I was in the agency. There was this particular radio program in Enugu called, let me remember the name, Namen. It was done in Pidgin. It was a street program, kind of. You found out that a lot of people listen to that radio program. Why? Because it just comes in, uses street slangs, say it in Igbo, combine it with Pidgin English, and for 2 hours, people were calling in, people were listening, and one of our clients, MTN, said they want to be on that platform. They want to pay for that 2 hours. Now, outside you'll be complaining that these people are just wasting time, wasting airtime. But you find out that that is what people want to listen to. And that station, I wouldn't mention their name, but when they just came into Lagos, they had only 3 presenters, morning, afternoon, and evening. We know what they do. Within an hour, within time of adverts, you hear that back to back, like 15 minutes of advertising. How? Is that what radio is all about? No. But we're looking at professionals. This is what the profession requires. Those that are following the profession of how Radio Nigeria has to do it, and nobody was listening to them. In fact, my client said, I want to be in this platform because they were connecting. Well, if I say they will hear, it's Pidgin English. You understand? So it was a lot of battle, but the brand I was handling then says, look, I need to be here because we are doing local communication strategy. We was a battle. In fact, my manager said, I can't be on this channel. They are speaking Pidgin. But the client said, we have to connect with our people. And what did we do? We went into the brand. Before you say Jack, they were begging us to buy into their station. 1 year down the line, we were begging them to be in the station because the rating just went high. And a lot of people, so it's a combination of things. So it depends on what the situation is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the lady at the back there. The one with the cream. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you for an entertaining and educative session. With regards to mentorship, so, well, I'm not a Gen Z, but I still want to class myself as part of them. It's a question now. Are we talking mentorship or stewardship? Because a lot of our older senior colleagues, I remember doing my internship at NTA. I remember a particular woman, Mrs. Fumilayo. The first day I got there, she told me to sit at the console. I didn't know what a console is prior, though it was all theory. But she told me to sit down there. And somebody was just pushing a couple of buttons, and I was just, hey, God, God will not let me go and spoil today's presentation and all of that. But I never forgot the first thing she said. She said, if you did not sit here today, you would never know what this was all about. Because a lot of times we feel it is learning the hard way that is teaching people, that is teaching, now let me put it that way. For people who learned, they feel you have to be stern, you have to, at times, wait very long period of time. Some people are not programmed that way. Some people are programmed in a way that just show them. They will be as efficient as possible. Just show them what to do. But a lot of our senior colleagues want stewardship. They want you to serve them because they served people. And it's a known fact. They want to serve. If I say I'm coming to learn from you, if what you can teach me in 20 years, if you can teach me in 1 year, must I still spend that 20 years? I worked in NTA, I worked with newspapers, I worked with media houses, and I know I worked with different people with different teaching techniques.
Okay, we'll respond to you now. The question, right?
Okay, yeah, so
Yes,
is it mentorship or stewardship, please?
Yes. Of course, it's totally different. Mentorship, apprenticeship, learning, they are all similar. But you cannot do stewardship when you don't have anything to offer. In my days in NTA, just like I recounted earlier, yes, I encourage people to multitask. In fact, it's even forbidden for you to be allowed into a control room on your first day at work. Of course, because it's an operational area and it's out of bound. Even for people who don't even want the interns to learn, they don't even smell or go near the operational area. So there is what is called, even if you were employed as a staff, there is what is called orientation, where you have to be orientated on the different departments. That would not determine the area where you'll be deployed to, not to talk of an intern. So internship, mentorship is for you to learn from those who know. It is after you know that you can be deployed. Of course, we know that people are different. In my days in NTA, once an intern comes, becomes the producer that she's attached to as a messenger. You want to go and buy something for me, which I discourage. Even now, if interns come, the other staff will want to be oppressing them, which they know I don't like. So they are here to learn. Let them learn before anything. What stops you? If I can do certain things myself, why can't you do it? So that's the clarification there. It's not the same at all. And it happens the way you have said it. And that is not how it should be.
Thank you very much.
Even if you can't relate to the Gen Zs, we relate to. There's this musician that came out at the same time with Rema. I was confusing two of them. I was trying to remember the name. Who remembers his name? As talented, very good. Omale, thank you. The difference between Omale, who in fact is even more talented than Rema, and Rema is simply this. Maven have a method. They take you when you're very young and teachable. You with all your talent, you want to go out and say no. They tie you down, they keep you there, teach you, train, make sure you are teachable, you are trainable, and then when you are matured, then they release you. You can see that in the Ira Star, in the Ira Stars of this work, you can see that in Rema, and they have a level head. Omale didn't have that kind of mentorship. He's talented, he's gifted, but he was not undercover. Am I right or am I right? Huh?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miriam Akpaokage Green, aka Taoma, Sheung Akiola, thank you very much. Peter Aman Boyo, thank you very much. Dr. Victor Okai, thank you very much. Ajia Amina Mohammed, thank you very much. Ayobami Mr. Olugbenga Wise, thank you very much for this session. I hope we enjoyed ourselves. In the pattern, I always tell most of my friends that when you go for exhibitions and event marketing, just go and just benefit just one thing. You don't need to get everything, right? We've been talking about how we can make money from content and all that. Look at the people that's here, right? But when you start making money, they'll say, when it starts, who will be and all that. So thank you very much for your patience. We're going to call you next time for the summit and for next year. Thank you very much. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Please, we have one more session to go. This won't take too much of our time, and it's very important you stay. Please. Yes, it's about money, so it's very important. Hello, can you all hear me, please? So please, it's very, very important. This session won't take too much of our time. Maybe 40 minutes max, we would be done. But 5 minutes for questions, so in total we have 45 minutes. So please, let's all stay. And I would also like to plead with us to move forward. The seats are scanty in the front, so please, I would be calling on the panelists.
Spyro, now only me while life. See as we day like beans and rice. I will never leave your side. I will never ever move. I dedicate my time to you, my guy. Even if the rough, I don't mind. 'Cause you be my G for life. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. 'Cause I did here with my guys. I got plenty for my mind, but right now I'm with my guys. I don't fear them got my back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are about to start the next session in 30 seconds. Thank you, distinguished panelists. It was a great session. Thank you so much. I learned a lot, and I'm going to be calling on every one of you one by one. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, sir. So I'm calling on the next panelist now, please. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? Please, can you all have your seats? Please, if you are standing behind, can you fill up the seat in front, please? We are starting the next session right now. So we will be talking about curbing the scourge of unwholesome practices in the media industry. And I bet we all want to listen to what our panelists have to say. Please, can we have our seats, please? 30 seconds, please. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So, I will be calling on the panelists before I call on the moderator for the session. So, if I have you here, please kindly come up stage. I have representing the president of Electric Media Association of Nigeria, Nkwan, is the vice president, Mr. Theo Akatugba. Please, can you come up stage? Mr. Theo Akatugba, if you are here, please come up stage. A round of applause for him as he comes up. Hello, do I have your attention? A round of applause for him. He's coming up stage. So we have next on the panel we have the DGN president, Dr. Victor Okpai. Please, Sam, we have you up stage again. Dr. Victor Okpai. Dr. Victor Okpai, please. We are. Oh, is your height? That's what they have here. Oh, my bad. Hi, sir. Okay, please, sir. Go ahead. Next, we have Mr. Deji Irawo. Omoba Deji Irawo. Please, if you are here, kindly come up stage. Next, I have Ehi Ohiani. She is the GM Click Nigeria Radio. Online Radio Nigeria. Please, if you are here, kindly come up stage. We need you here. And moderating the session again would be Mr. Chinedu Ugu, the M1 PO, and I'm the managing director of Sablistus Ventures Limited. So I'm going to call on the panelists again. I have High Chief Emeka Osai. Please, can you come up stage, sir? I also have here, if she's here, Olakunle Taiwo, the MD Creative Nigeria Summit. Is she here? Please, if you are here, we need you upstage. So I'm calling on the DG. Okay, the DG is coming. Omoba Dejirawo, is he here? Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Ehi Ohiani, are you here, please? Can you come up stage? Yes, she is here. Ehi Ohiani and Dr. Ohai. Okay. Hi, Chief. We want you upstage. So I will hand over to the moderator of this session. Please, if you are sitting behind, can you fill up the space in front? I mean, let's not leave this hall too scanty. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much for your patience. Thanks for staying behind to be part of this last session. We have a microphone that side. There is no one, please. We need one more microphone to join. Yeah, good evening. Once again, we'll be discussing curbing the scourge of unwholesome practices in the media industry, a collective responsibility, and also looking at licensing, distribution, co-production, and collaboration as an essential element in the emerging African continent. Alakunle is not yet here, so we'll wait. When she arrives, she will join. Now, Mr. Akatuba, please, can you talk to us on... We're starting with you, yes, because as a veteran in the industry, you know that there are a lot of unwholesome practices that has been alleged to be happening in the industry. So what do you think? How can we curb such unwholesome practices if they are real or imagined?
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to share ideas on important topics. Are we fusing two topics together? Okay. All right. So, and first, one of the very surprising, unwholesome practices that I got wind of was the fact that the media buying and advertising agencies, they started acting in cahoot with content providers or program owners who paraded themselves as owning content in certain territories, whereas they didn't have. That had a lot of effect on advertising return on investment. And that had the effect of waning or destroying the confidence of advertisers. Now, let me put it this way. Someone who never had a program on Delta TV, for example, will parade himself that he has.
That's a ghost program.
Ghost program.
Okay.
And advertising subscription and buyers went in there. Some did knowingly. And the advertising campaign did not deliver on its promise because, in fact, programs never existed, ads never ran. That's one. We also had the situation where advertising, media independent and the advertisers started owning programs to undercut genuine producers, and advertising were directed at such programs that didn't have the right air timing, and they were not as popular and in bright channel, but you saw avalanche of advertising. So the chagrin of those who do real investment. And so this is another unwholesome practice that the industry has continued. The last one that I want to talk about is outer stations that do not broadcast consistently, but take advertising on their generators, run all the ads, and switch off the gen, which is a channel that's not running consistently. So if you give them advertising bookings, they know that all the bookings, they will run them at 7:30. Or they will on the gen for the news. Once they run the news, run the ad, the general manager switch off the gen, and the station is closed.
Cutting cost, Abby.
These are three unwholesome practices that I like to highlight in this my first intervention.
Okay, now I would like to the only lady on the stage. Ihi, right? Okay. Do you agree with him in all this he said?
Absolutely. So even apart from that, there is the issue of, well, I think maybe what you're referring to will be more common with government stations. Yes. State-owned stations. Because they wait for, their subvention from government. They will complain to you that they don't have power, especially the ones that are in the hinterlands and all that, the ones that are not in town. Like you said, they would run the news, maybe like hook up to the network news. For example, NTA or Radio Nigeria. Put that gen on and then take the ads, and all that. That's just to add a bit of light to that. There's also the problem of attribution, a very, very huge problem, especially with the emergence of online. So you find now that, and the issue of attribution is tied, linked with copyright, with plagiarism, you know, and all that. So the media has now also found, terrestrial media has found itself in the online space. We have stations that have their online, you know, arms or channels. So they just replicate what is on radio or what is on TV online, which is different from having a channel that is built specifically for online, right? What happens is that you, like he said, you have a program that is being run, you know, taken by someone who is not the owner of the content. There is no proper attribution to the real owner of that content, especially because it is online. You've even seen wars online now where, you know, some celebs will come out to call certain media outfits out and say, you couldn't even tag and say, you got this content from me. You know, and I used to say back then, when I was still doing, you know, work at the BBC, that time is coming when people will start having time to sue. And the time has come now. Yes, we're not having people take more cases up and to say, you use this thing, you know, because creating content, you know, involves a lot of creative energy being put in and resources being put in. So you taking someone's content without attribution or without proper credit being given becomes a problem. In the broadcast media world, I would also say that that is moving away, not just content creation now, but in terms of news production and journalism itself. There's the huge issue of the brown envelope syndrome, where they say, quote and unquote, that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So this affects content a whole lot, because the person who is paying is not doing a sponsored program. That program is going to be put out as if it's a factual program. Do you understand? Because if it is commercial, it's going to be tagged commercial. It's going to be attributed as a commercial content. So there is transparency. Your audience can appreciate it, that you are telling them the truth, because you are telling me, buy this. It's open. But when the brown envelope syndrome is such an evil that it makes the media to present a biased content as a factual content, or a paid content as if it is factual. It is not factual. When you go for an event, and if you are in a room with journalists and you start talking about ethical issues, you start talking about, you know, editorial independence, accuracy, you know, and things like, if you see the way journalists would defend and explain to you how they can collect the brown envelope and still report objectively, and it is not possible. It's not just, even if they give you transport, you are not going to report the negative things that you saw in that event. And that doesn't amount to, you know, original content at the end of the day. If this person, he has paid for the news, that's what it means. If this, and you need to know what brown envelope is now. I mean heavy brown envelope. When you get the alert in your account, you know, they say many media houses don't pay. So the question is, why are they what are the journalists still doing there? There was a meeting they said that Dr. C had with some of the media people, and his staff were around. God bless his soul. And someone now asked the question and said, sir, they say you don't pay your people, which is also an unwholesome practice, especially in broadcast journalism. They say you don't pay your people properly, or you don't pay them. They gave Dr. C Mike. Know what he said? He said, I don't pay them, Abi. See, sir, you know. He said, this is Benga. This is Austin. Okiria, this called all of them, say go outside and let them show you their cars and come and check my own car. Then you will now tell me who should be paying who. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. We have our model here is so the
So
few years
awkward.
the few years I spent at the BBC, you cannot see when we are finished. You'll be looking for us. You cannot find us. We've gone. We have gone. Even as much as your refreshment at that event, you might not want to take it. You might, because you are so trained to understand the meaning of every single, thing. I think these are some of the unwholesome practices that are affecting content in the media. Yeah.
Okay, Amoba. They said Mr. Akatuba alleged that sometimes it's an allegation we unwholesome practices. Okay, that's why I say we need to verify because it's the era of verification that some brand owners or some agencies or something, let me play the devil's advocate here. They collaborate or corroborate and produce contents and channel funds to it. Now, let me ask one question, because sometimes you find out that it's even because they are closer to client, they know what the client wants. And like our advanced person said, if you understand the client, you produce the content that the client will buy into. Don't you think that is a kind of business strategy for them to produce such content and put it on air, because they are not forcing the stations to air it. They produce those contents, infuse those brands into it, and air it on television. Is it an unwholesome content if you are in that shoots?
What I basically believe fundamentally is that when a people lose their values as people, then what is doable is inevitable. I think Africa has over the years suffered from this dwindling realities of losing who we are and our values as a people. When you listen to those who have gone ahead of us, those who are fortunate to be around in 40s, 50s, 60s, they will tell you how people will leave their wares and nothing will happen to it. And that whoever wants to buy will pay, leave the money there and go. I mean, I've sat down in a lot of those conversations. So the question was that how did we consistently go through a process where we have totally eroded who we were and have become, I think one of the things that happened, and I think it was media also, that they used in this arrangement, because there's nobody who grew up in Nigeria, maybe the 70s, 80s, who did not see the way the West was selling their values to us. You didn't need to travel abroad before you knew the name of states. You didn't need to travel abroad before you knew a lot of things about the royal family and everything. But who was creating our own kind of content for them? If you look at all the things we've done, we basically eroded ourselves. Even from the way we look at nostalgia, that we used to watch Kokoro Adon, we used to watch all those kind of things that brought us together that were fantastic. How many of those things do we have now? We even have them trying to go back to a project like Village Headmaster and the rest of that. So I said that to say, so when we as Africans have lost those values that held us together, the ones of integrity, the ones of truth and everything, we will have a society that we have. And everybody, obviously, every sector has been affected by the loss of these values. So we're just looking at the one that pertains to those of us in the media and the broadcast space. Every other sector has had their own fair share. Look at the way we're having buildings collapse all over the place now. Why? Because there are also unethical, practices over there. So, but going back to your question, really at the end of the day, we all know that an advertising agency is set up to do advertising, the business of advertising, no matter how multi-diverse that is. That does not include broadcast in terms of content production, in terms of all that kind of things. Yes, you can midwife that process. You can, like, I always enjoy the fact that High Chief here will tell you about how he's been able to work with brands, creating what is tailor-made for them, and he's happy, he's smiling to the bank. And I think everybody involved in that triangle, the agency, the company, everybody's okay. But when you now have agencies playing the role of also creating content, and then, like he said, also putting it where it needs to be put, I think that's unethical. And I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't, make it look as if it's a
We shouldn't paint it.
We shouldn't paint it. What is wrong is wrong. Who they are is spelled out. Who we are is spelled out. We are the ones who create the content. We're the ones who are supposed to be sitting down to say, okay, get the brief from the client, tell us what they want. We create what they want. Take your normal remuneration, your percentage and everything, and then run your business around it. Because we also have a larger conversation that we need to be dealing with. Because media is, demanding so much more. It's almost like we were in a meeting one of those days, and Agatha Mata was saying that, they should really appreciate those of us who are into content creation, because she said we literally employ every other, sector, in our space. We have lawyers, we have, people, medics, we have everybody we are talking to, we have script writers, we have hospitality. They are literally paying, you are paying salaries for a wide range of people, facility managers, so many people that you are just because you own media. So you can see how large that conversation is. And then, so you can't be talking about the fact that we are talking about the same staff strength agencies are. So if when they now come into our space and they're not really in our space, then they take away funds that we should be using to ensure that we take care of this huge army of people we have to be, this ecosystem, for lack of a better word, that we need to be dealing with. So I think we should just call a spade, that advertising agencies have no business in the actual production of the content, and in terms of liaising with how that is done. But in terms of, yes, their role primarily, which is to, liaise between us and the companies, and then also that triangle of the TV stations, is understandable. But to actually begin to own content and do all that when it's not your mainstay, I think it's having the best of two worlds, and it's not good for the industry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Erawo. Talking about unwholesome practices and how to use co-production and collaboration to solve it, I want to go to Mr. High Chief Emeka Osai, a content producer, and you've been in the front of screens before. So what do you think can be done? Is, as a member of the BOT of MCOAN, what is MCOAN doing to encourage co-production and collaboration to be able to reduce? Because even, I'll come back to DGN, but let me discuss with you first. What is MCOAN doing about co-production and collaboration so as to reduce some of the unwholesome practices that is going
on? Before I go to your question, I will touch a little on the unwholesome practices, because we're talking about how unwholesome practices stifles content production. Before we now talk about the solutions to it. Everything they've been saying about what staff of different agencies are doing is what we call insider trading. And insider trading on its own is unethical and a crime in some climes, and it's almost becoming a crime in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, the DG or representative of the DG of EFCC ought to be here, because I'm happy to announce that EFCC is also taking seriously some of the unwholesome practices within our space, and people are going to be arrested, detained, and probably sent to jail after prosecution for these kind of things. So gone will be the days that people will be doing all this and getting away with it, and suffocating us, the genuine content producers, out of the system. Like you said, it seems like we work for everyone. We work to empower everyone. We work to enrich everyone. At the end of the day, we receive the shortest end
of the state. This has been facilitated by, on one hand, ARCON, that's the Advertising and Regulatory Commission of Nigeria, with this new leadership of Dr. Fadolako, who has said that enough was enough already with things that are happening to content producers. He's one person that's been working a whole lot to ensure that a lot of things, a lot of wrongs are righted under, this dispensation, And one of the things, for example, he has said, is this idea of agencies owing us to death. You do some jobs and they look for reasons not to want to pay you.
Non-compliance.
Yes, non-compliance, using the media monitoring organizations, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. Now, some of us have been, fortunate to see some of those, the inner rooms of some of these media monitoring people. I don't know whether before now that, I don't know if they are digital. But then when they were so analog that they have a set of TVs where they sit to monitor. And whoever is monitoring must sit down there. Probably doze off for a couple of hours. Your programs will pass, they will not see them, and for fear of reporting that all programs, all adverts were flighted, they just, by their whims, write that some adverts were not run. I do not know if they give them a brief that there does not have to be 100% compliance, so that some monies can revert to the advertisers, or for them to create an impression to the advertisers that they are doing their jobs very well. So you will monitor your own program. You will see that you ran all your adverts and they ran, and they're telling you, no, it didn't run. So they're leaving you to go and sort yourself out with whoever it is you want to defend yourself with. And it's very, very almost impossible to win that battle. So it is very unfortunate that we have these experiences. So using my own experience, how do you run away from all this? Having a direct conversation between content producers, broadcasters, and the advertisers. This actually informed the discussion I had, like I mentioned earlier, with the DG of NTA. And I think it applies to every TV station. And discussing that does not mean it's rocket science or something novel. It happens all over the world. But unfortunately, we live in a climate where very simple things seem to be rocket science. I spoke to the DJ and I said, let us have a tripartite discussion between content makers, well, represented by MCOAN, and at the first instance, because we brought this idea up, and NTA as the flagship of broadcast media in Nigeria. Unfortunately, they're not acting, to that, reputation. But we're saying let's wake it up, and then the advertisers. Let us have a tripartite conversation, even if it's through a summit or a stakeholders meeting, to see what we can do to move forward. Let us sit down, decide on a slate of content that we could make, prying into the minds of the advertisers and having time on their belt to have these programs there. And then from the get-go, we already know how much we'll make from the advertisers who are ready to pay. They have the advertising spend to pay. They're just looking for the right channel and the right content to put on. And at the end of the day, the advertiser who is a part of this conversation cannot go behind by those unwholesome practices to begin to make that content in-house, probably using proxies and all that. It cuts that off. And then NTA would understand the discipline of what they must do to ensure that these programs are broadcast professionally and not a situation where you wake up because one governor from one place or wants to air one program, then you yank it off. For something that premium costs have been paid on, you cannot do that. So unwholesome practices on the part of the broadcaster will also be cut off. And then for you, the content producer, you are given some quality guidance on what to do to ensure that you produce the right content for that. So if we start like that, perhaps it will expand and resonate with other people who will copy this idea and begin to, run with it. You understand? So that is a first step that we have taken, and we're hoping it succeeds. Well, I've been reliably told that a date will be announced soon for this stakeholders meeting and summit, as it were, for us to kickstart from that point and see how it goes forward. Thank you.
Thank you, High Chief. I'll come to the DGN. Content production is not just series. I talk of movies and all that go on there. Now, within the content production, there have been some allegations, some accusations that some directors insist on certain things to feature some casts. That's why I say it's allegation. So now this is also part of the. Yeah, this is you. I'm talking to the DGN president. So now there have been accusations, counter accusations that look, because the director is the lord of the production, so he decides who comes on set, who features, and blah blah blah. So tell us, how will this be eliminated so that the best person does the job and gets the best content out?
Thank you very much. My answer is simple. Just this morning, we were watching online a young girl who was accusing a pastor, Omega 5 Ministries, of whatever. And I'm also aware that very recently, a lecturer was also doing the same thing for grades at Unical or so. So what am I saying? It's a human problem, not even a Nigerian problem. So in DGM and movie industry, we are not taking ownership of it, certainly. I'm not dodging your question, but we are certainly not taking ownership of it. It's a human problem. Okay? If we have that understanding, I can then attempt to answer your question. Do we have that understanding?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, there's another side to this as well, just to let you know. If you go, there are so many very rich, old and young ladies, or ambitious, older and younger ladies who want to blow, and they think the fastest is through movies. And so they come, sometimes with their body first. And at other times, they come with money.
Full package.
Full package. And so, whether they are good or not, when they come with money, then they say, because they are bringing the money, they want to be featured in the movie. Does it happen or not? So, that is a problem. I'm still going back to the issue of human problem. I'm not defending DJ. I'm telling you it's a human problem. What can we do about it? It was a question. So I'm speaking generally now. What should we do? It comes back to what we were talking about earlier, what the agencies do. Buildings that collapse come from corruption as well. The greed of Nigerians has no, I don't know, that did not get, it not get level anywhere else. Part 2 not there. So, but to be professional, I come from the same stock or route as her, that training with the BBC and all that, and where you are a thoroughbred professional, you look at only what you earn. The truth is, money is never really enough. There's no amount of money that is enough. Integrity is a far harder currency than any other hard currency you can think about. And if you have it, that, for me, your professional integrity, if you can uphold it, it may seem like you're moving slowly, but believe me, you will get very, very far. I know of somebody who rose, although in the end, he got corrupted. I won't mention the name of journalists, but maybe when I talk about it, one or two people may guess, but don't ask me, I will not answer. This guy, no, wait. I know this guy used to work with, he worked with the Guardian, worked with the Punch. When they go for assignment, as soon as you're done, the guy is gone. It was in our sector, it was reported in our sector as well. Everyone looked at it, real professional and all that. The guy rose very fast. Even ended up in government, got very big and all that. What stood him out among his colleagues then was the fact that he refused, at least that was the perception, to be compromised. We look at the short term. Anybody who gives you money will not respect you. They are paid for you. You understand what I'm saying? They've paid you off. Whether, forget about the smile. They have paid you off, and they would have absolutely no respect for you. And so, if as a, let me come back to directors now. If an actress pays you off with her body, and believe me, some of the so-called big actresses in the early days they did, which is why later when they blew, they have no regard whatsoever for those directors and those producers. Because, yes, when they were weak and vulnerable, they did what they did, but they never forgot. The truth is, these young girls or young boys will never forget. They will do it because they have no choice at the time. But when they blow, that I say, not be this guy where I make, imagine those days, when you hear a person talking like that, go back, look in the mirror. Ask yourself what went wrong. If you were a true mentor, they will respect you till the very end. Am I right or am I right? Eh? But if you compromise your integrity, don't ever open your mouth and say you did A for them or that. They will look at you. They may not talk. But, you know, you will just keep saying, na me bring them up. Those days when you not be anything, na me first give a road, na me first give a. What you don't say is at what cost and at what price. I think never answer your question, no, na proverb at the TikTok. But let me rest at this point.
Thank you very much. I perfectly understand, because everything that has been discussed on this table, the human angle, is not just in the DGN section, everybody, because it's a public challenge. Because you keep saying
no, it's because you didn't mention any other organization since we have been talking. But when it came to me, you said DGN, so I had to.
Okay, you are from DGN. That's why I said from DGN. Okay, now let me start from you before we go back. Now, what is the collaboration? We are looking at co-production, collaboration. How will your association, or within all the association within the industry, how are you looking at collaborating? Because I produce a content, and an artist come to my set and decide this is where she will stay. Now I've booked hotels. I said I don't want this hotel. This is where I will stay. You are coming to work on my set. We have agreed. Now you tell me how much I will pay you. You tell me the type of hotel you will stay and the food you will eat, and decide when to come on set. This is on wholesome practice, and such a thing can be sanctioned. You know. So how do we look at collaboration between the actors and the content producers and all the other within the industry? How do you ensure that there's collaboration and cooperation, so that at the end of the day, what is coming out from Nigeria is world standard?
Okay. Apart from the last part which you talked about coming out world standard and all that, is another word for collaboration is contract. Why are the producers not wanting to do a contract? Why are the actors not having a contract? Because producers are planning to cheat them, so they won't give them a contract. Do you understand? The actors too can do what they want to do because they don't have a contract. So it's Koniman die, Koniman bury him. If you have a rock solid contract, me, if I'm doing a project, don't even come near. Because honestly, if you violate, I will pursue you into hell. I will not hear a beg. I will tell you what I will do in the beginning. You violate it, I will do what I told you, and after dealing with you mercilessly, I will remind you that I told you in the beginning. Because there is a contract. What you don't want, I will pay you so much. Do you agree? Under these conditions, do you agree? Sign. Are you following me? Yes. Contracts are enforceable. But producers will not make you sign contract because they are planning to cheat you too. So if they end up cheating, if they end up not coming to your set, don't blame them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, whereas you have agreed to give them hotel, have you written the contractual terms? You must arrive at so time, work for so many number of hours, and make sure you keep it. Not that you say this, then you work him till 11 o'clock in the night from 8 a.m. Or you're supposed to resume at so time, even you are not organized. Then when it is 8 o'clock, he wants to go, you say, no, you cannot go. After all, we just started. I'm sure you will not be smiling, but me, I'm hard when I'm talking because I'm spitting facts. You understand what I'm saying? That collaboration you want starts with contract. You can't go and do a job with Netflix and you mess up like that. They pay you well, first of all. They tie you down with the contract and you will be tied to you if you don't do your part. So I think we should learn to do things the right way. Learn to draw up contracts. Let there be agreements. What are the terms? What's in it for you? Or what's in it for me? Write it down. Let a lawyer be present so that the guy knows it's not a joke. I can assure you, however big that star is, it will not mess up. They have it at the back of their mind. If you compromise, if they know you to be chuku-chuku, they will do chuku-chuku with you. Well, I'm sure that's not the answer you were
the collaboration I'm talking about in terms of partnering with them. Partnering with, maybe High Chief will better explain that. I'm talking of partnering because what you're saying is contract. I pay you, you do your work.
Let me explain what I mean. Yes. You see, when you talk about collaboration, the whole business is collaboration. It's everybody is in the team. Why did I mention producer specifically? Because that is his job. Do you understand what I'm saying? What ties you down together is a contract. I know there's a certain answer you're looking for, but no matter how sweet that, excuse my use of the word sweet, because in Nigerian English we talk, however sweet that deal is and all that, if you don't put it down on paper, there is no collaboration. Me and you don't have any business if we don't have a contract. If I mess you up, I mess you up good, because nothing ties us, not word of mouth. If you truly mean what you want, like women say, put the ring. Is that not so? Eh? If there's no ring, there is no contract. Which way are you they do? I go marry you. No, don't talk. Give me the ring. Women, am I correct? Eh? Man go just say they post you. If there is no ring, there is no. Look, if you go and sleep with another man, you should just shut up. Because he's not ready. When he's ready, he will do the right thing. He will come and see your parents. That's the process. Then when it's time, when I'll go court, he will sign the contract. Then you know you have a wife. That is collaboration, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll move to Chief Emeka's side because let's not just talk about the ring thing, because I've watched a lot of movies where your colleagues were sharing rings from different women, and it was not marriage, it was just rings. So please talk to us. Leave the ring out of it for now.
Well, I don't think I can expand more than what he has said about collaboration, because when people come together to work, they're actually collaborating, and the contract defines the level of collaboration and what remuneration you get for collaborating. Even if it were two people coming together as partners to produce a film, they are functioning in some way or the other, and the contract binds them together. And that contract also determines what the remuneration will be, as a fruit of the collaboration. So like he said, there must be a contract. But I was going to say, when you talked about the demands of the actor, and then when it comes to doing the job, they decide when they come and when they leave. I was going to say that everything you said prior to that is the actor's entitlement.
and for you as a producer to accept or reject. If I have paid my dues over the decades, and I say this is the minimum expectation I have on your set, and you accept to provide it, you must provide it. You also have a choice not to say, I do not have the budget to provide all this, and then you move on. But if you have accepted, then I am duty bound as an actor to work. If you have specified your schedule from what time to what time, I'll be there. I mean, they always say that some of us who are old school, we always keep to time, we're very prompt. That's the training, that's the orientation, right? But like he said, if you say 8 to 8, and I come there at 8 o'clock, in most cases, time before 8 o'clock, and then because you are disorganized, you waste my time and you don't start until about 3 or 4. And then after shooting for 4 hours and it gets to 8 o'clock, you have not achieved anything for the day, you are saying, I beg now, you want to walk all through the night, I will tell you no. And if I walk out on you, you must accept that you failed. In which case, the terms of that collaboration have been violated, and I have a right, to work according to my contract. So the collaboration is for everyone to be disciplined, for everyone to be responsible to the contract signed. People should be disciplined. That is just the core thing. Discipline. Values must be restored and respected, and sometimes enforced.
Thank you very much. A final note, we are taking our last shots now because time is fast spent. Mr. Katuba.
Thank you very much. When we talk about collaboration, we need collaboration for better production. The era of trying to do it yourself will continue to make the movies we make end on YouTube. Audiences have developed a very high taste. They have been exposed to better quality works. If you look at our society, we're very good at individuality, and we end up with small businesses that never grow big and never compete globally. There are too many issues, but as an industry, starting with M1 members must lead the way and find ways to join forces to make better productions. It's not enough to say TV needs better production when the productions are not there. Everyone believes that his own content is excellent. And does that deliver the audience for the broadcast channel or the medium you want to use? Does it compete favorably in this market? So M1 members must lead the way. 1, 2, 3 people must do better jobs. Pull their resources together. Split the revenue according to their investment. M1 should have a court to arbitrate when there are issues, because there's no perfect system. And there must be issues. Even in the advanced world, there are disputes. And there will always be disputes where 1 or 2 people are together. And we must create arbitration. DGN is talking about signing a contract. I have not seen the entire guilds coming together to say, even if we disagree on many issues, we should form a disciplinary council and arbitration to discipline members across guilds. I, as a producer, I have contracted High Chief to act for me, and the contract terms are stated, and I have offended the contract. Is it only the law courts that should settle? Can the industry within themselves have a mechanism of penalizing those who practice in it? That way, we start from ourselves before we go out to battle if we can't solve the problems. But the first thing is, we must make the money that is out there. And if we do not join hands together, do you know what has happened? Other people who have not invested so much come in, form that collaboration, and take the business away. And we continue to wallow in misery. complaining and blaming witches and wizards, going for deliverance in churches and vigils on end. Collaboration is the way forward. It will improve our fortunes, and we must start now.
Thank you, Mr. Katuba. Mr. Omaba, have any parting shot for us?
Well, I totally agree that at the end of the day, collaboration is inevitable. I think we can all see, even from last year when MQuant started this, and even to this year, we keep seeing the fact that there are possibilities beyond our wildest dream. One of our major sponsors, Z, just like an hour or two ago, just showed us how they came into Africa and how they saw possibilities that probably many of us did not even believe in, imagine are available. So what that says to us is that we need to be seeing the bigger picture. And what that means is the fact that we need to be able to come together and begin to see how do we even pick it up piece by piece. For example, one major area of collaboration we're looking at, we keep talking about it, and I'm still hoping that we can move forward, is the area of children's content and content that is wholesome for Africa. I still feel that area, desires that we come together as stakeholders to begin to see how we bring together everybody's strengths and see how we are able to. Again, it goes back to what we're talking about, being able to have this contract that brings everybody together. But the first idea is to even believe that there are possibilities and they are there and we have not even scratched them. Because again, just like they've done this, they are probably going to begin to bring us content that again, okay, it's back. So to not drive the points too far is just to say that collaboration is the way forward. We just have to find a way to make it work. Obviously, it's always an issue of who gets the bigger pie. But when you're looking at the bigger picture of things, you now realize that they normally would say it's better to own 1% in a multi-billion naira company than for you to own 50% in a company that just makes a few thousand of naira in a year. So I think there should be a way where everybody's able to sit down and everybody can take away something from it that makes the bigger picture what is worth. That would be my final part. Thank you.
Okay, so I think what I'll just add is I really feel like talents, artists, and the professionals themselves, we need to know our rights. Because if you keep talking about contracts and every other thing that we've been talking about, the question is, does the artist even know what, terms of reference should be? They don't even know. So even if you give the person a contract that has so many loopholes, they probably would not even know that they are signing up for something that, their own bondage. We need to know our left from our right. It's not enough to just appear looking all this and all that. We don't even know we said EFCC was supposed to be here. I also feel like NBC should have been here as well, because they are a huge stakeholder in this field too. So we don't know where some of these laws are domiciled. There are some laws that are domiciled under EFCC in terms of actionable organizations that should take action. There are some that are domiciled under EFCC. There are some that are domiciled under NBC, ICPC, and all that. So we need to be more enlightened. The average artist, the average young person who is going for wanting to be an actor, an actress, who wants to be a radio presenter or a journalist or whatever, they do not know any of these. So whatever is thrown at you because you just want to be a star, or you want to appear on TV, you want to appear on this channel, you want to be online or whatever, you just take. Okay, so yeah, I think that would be my parting word. Thank you.
And also dropping what I consider a wrong collaboration that stifles creativity. And that's the collaboration of politics with creativity. NBC is a major driver of this program, but like you notice, they're not here, and they're not here because of politics. Because of the politics of the era, a lot of these people are taken away from here to attend to some other things that they feel is more important in the political terrain. So let us hope that this kind of toxic collaboration ends so that the right thing can continue to happen as we evolve to better practice. Thank you. Okay, I've been listening very carefully since we started. I've heard NBC, I've heard EFCC, I've heard ICPC, I've heard NTA, I've heard MCOAN, I've heard DGN. Nobody has talked about Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BORN. Yes. No, let me even tell you why even BORN is very important. For me, they are your big stakeholders. NTA is subsumed under, yes. And so a lot of the fight that is being fought, I say so because I belong to another body that by collaborating with them, BORN, was able to solve so many problems. It's like kill 1,000 birds rather with one single stone. If you can get the buy-in of BORN, and they will because you are an organized body, if you can get the buy-in of BORN, whatever they say is binding on all members. I think there's NBC on the one hand, the Copyright Commission for issues that are copyright issues, but Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria is very critical for what you do. Whether you want lower rates, whether you want them to make sure that they don't come back to you with stories about monitoring and all that, that the duty of taking, you can place the duty of transmission on their neck. The body should not be yours. If you've given them, nobody should come, the advertisers should not come and meet you and tell you that, that the thing was not aired or was not carried. I think the engagement should be more with them, and if that is done, it will help. So there's a need for collaboration at that level as well.
So let me speak to that. Fortunately, BORN was supposed to be here as a major partner of this event. I was in Abuja with my colleague here, Mr. Steve, to speak with the Executive Secretary of BORN. But let me shock you. NTA and what you know of NTA is a representative mindset of all membership of BORN. Unfortunately, I can tell you this with authority, that the man who is the Executive Secretary of BORN, whom we spoke to concerning partnership, okay, so no, I would also want to be like
the NTA man.
NTA man who was here, who didn't want to speak a whole lot, because he does not want to fall foul of some relationships or laws or probably his job. So I'd rather not expatiate, but I can tell you that it was not the most fruitful encounter that we had. As excited as they were to see us, as excited as they were to hear what we had to say, they have a mindset, which is a cake, which is old school, which is, well, I mean, that was the picture that was painted by the man they employed as their executive secretary, who ought to represent their opinion. Everything we're complaining about, TV stations, we didn't talk to radio, but TV stations, that is the mindset. They are telling you, it is not easy to run this thing. We have to buy diesel. We have to buy diesel. They talk, things that are not. And I asked, if you keep asking for money to buy diesel, why are you not thinking of how to make the money to buy diesel beyond selling airtime. They have no creativity. And I say this on air. Let them hear me. They have no creativity beyond selling airtime. Most of these TV stations have no creativity beyond selling airtime. I even went as far as using a brand that is a competing brand to say, if that is the case, how is DSTV doing it, Mnet? Are they waiting for subvention, for money to buy airtime? Are they doing that? The answer is no. Yes, you could have him as the chairman because they look at him as representing an organization that has money.
Hi, Chief.
But even if the DG of NTA were to be the chairman of BON, it still would not change. Let me tell you, the chairmanship of John Ugbe of BON is not going to change what BON is. He will do his business, and the rest of BON will do their business the way they are used to it. That is the feelers that I got. So that was why I proposed this tripartite thing to the DG of NTA, thinking that if it is done with NTA and it succeeds, perhaps other ones will wake up and begin to see that beyond selling airtime, there are other ways to make money from TV broadcast.
A round of applause to the panelists. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Well, this discussion, I know it must continue. It must continue.
Yes, as we continue, it's not a gloomy picture. We have just started talking about collaboration. It's not easy for people to understand. If they need money to buy diesel and they don't know where to find it, we have been buying diesel and we have been finding some money to buy diesel. We need to show them how to get the money when they collaborate with us. Maybe they don't know where it is. Just recently, I met somebody. NBC called all its broadcast stations here. It was in this place. And there was an issue. A lot of us do not know how to market broadcast services. They employ insurance brokers to come do marketing without training them about media services marketing. So we have a lot of work to do. We need to start by training them. We need to talk to government. A lot of them don't have any single budget for content. The general managers are appointed and he dare not ask for money for such a thing because he was employed to go there and slave it out and keep the station the way he met it and run it lower than that. They don't have a plan to improve. And that is because of ignorance. They do not know the power. The governor of Delta State spent 39 million naira on channels to inform his people in Delta. And he has the TV there. And he has not given them 20 million for content. There's a lot of work. It's not gloomy. It's positive. We're going to do the work. We are M1. Our mission in this country is to improve this business and have something to bequeath to the future generation. And we will do that.
On that note, we want to put our hands together for our panelists, our discussants this evening. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Tomorrow is another day, but before we go, we come back for the pictures, and the vote of thanks will be given by the project director, Mr. Steve Alayande.
All right. As I'm giving the vote of thanks, I need to be part of this picture. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to have opportunity of hosting all of us today. Let me appreciate every one of us that taking time to be part of today's session. Very, very engaging. From the first session, from the opening ceremony, we want to appreciate every one of you. I saw briefly the MD of Creative Nigerian Summit, Think Tank. Okay, I think she's gone. Please, let's come on time tomorrow, 9:30. We'll start tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. It's a power pack session tomorrow. Okay, so I've been informed that it's 10 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's not 9:30. So we'll start on time so that we can end on time. Thank you to our sponsors, Z World, Creative Nigerian Summit, Free TV, NTA.